And it's looking at a line here in the Bible, and it's a line from the book of Genesis where God says, "For I know him." And it's just talking about Abraham and God, part of his covenant, saying, look, I know him. And it's in the same way that God knows us. And think of how much God knows us, knows the better angels of our nature. We have a mix, right? But knows those better angels. And how is it that those better angels work? Well, it's an interesting one with Christianity, that sometimes we can get lost and in all the machinations of our brains. And Jesus was so clear. Like he says all these things, and he says, like, look, time out. If you ever get confused, here you go. Love the Lord your God, love your neighbor as yourself. Just, that's what it is. Love God, love your neighbor, love God, love the person right in front of you. That's to make it super clear. If we're ever like looking for an emergency, I don't know, flashlight or something. But that's what it is. It's that clear. Now, interestingly, Christian New Church theology takes it even one step further. Like, well, why did Jesus say that? Well, because that's what we originally created. We originally created with those two intertwined, where deep in our spirit was intertwined this love of God, love of the other person, and those two commandments were as one. In other words, they were exactly the same. So let's just read a bit about it and offer some thoughts on that. And the idea is that they started out as one, and then humanity, and it was part of what we would call the fall, was we divided those things. We started to see them as two very, very different things. So the human mind is divided into two parts that do not make a united whole. Yet the intent in our creation was that the two halves form a single mind. To speak metaphorically, there was to be no other distinction than that between fire and the light it sheds. Love for the Lord, in other words, first commandment. Love and charity for the neighbor, second great commandment, was to be like a flame, and all perception and thought was to be like the light it sheds. Love and charity were to have been the all in all of perception and thought. They were to have permeated each and every facet of it. It's a beautiful idea, friends. That love, and we can bring them back together, by the way. That's part of this whole process of regeneration. That was supposed to just be our core. That was supposed to be the lens through which we saw the world, was through these two great loves. And just imagine, friends, like just a family relationship. For those of you who have children, grandchildren, or are taking care of somebody, you know what that's like. Like of course you want to feel loved, but it's never going to be about you. I kind of see that as God's bit, where he's like, it's not about me. It's actually about other people. And there's few things as rewarding as a parent than watching your kids or cousins or, fill in the blank, watching them really get along with each other. That's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly powerful. And that creates a certain perception. If you are blessed to live within a loving family or a loving whatever community of some sort, you get a sense that you just can figure a lot of stuff out. You can figure a lot of stuff out if you're at a table with people who love each other. You're gonna figure stuff out. May not be easy, may be really difficult, but you're gonna figure stuff out because there's these two loves that are acting as one. And friends, the beautiful part is that it actually starts to work both ways. So we have this love that goes out, but we also have this love that comes in. When we really get into a good practice around loving God, loving other people, we're able to kind of see that's kind of, it's hard to describe. It's like it's again like a fire and a light, as Swinburne would say. It's a fire and a light that we can find in ourselves that goes out. Again, it's a gift. It's not us. It's something we borrow from God. And it also is something that we can see out there, a fire and a light that can come in. That's what I mean by going both directions. I was thinking about that, listening to a wonderful podcast with Sam Wells of St. Martin in the Fields in London, England. And they were talking about some of the challenges of life and how the person he was talking to said, this person had lost their daughter to a drunk driving accident, and they felt carried by the love of God through this event. And then they had a second tragedy happen in their life, and I'm forgetting which one that was, but it was equally horrific. And they said they couldn't access the love of God. They didn't feel God's sort of tender presence. that much, but what they did feel was the love of all the people around them. And the point that they were making in this conversation was this: that's the two great commandments working in reverse, like it works going out and it works coming in. That sometimes, maybe if we go through a tragic time and we really do feel like God is just carrying me through this. And I imagine many of you have probably had that experience of God carrying you through something really difficult. And then that isn't always accessible. And the why is that so? I don't know. But it's really this beautiful thing where if we're not in tune with that, we can easily be in tune with other people and we can feel their love carrying us. And that it doesn't mean that God's absent. The two are one and the same. And I feel like God's kind of going like, well, sometimes I can't be received this way, so I'm going to be received this way. Sometimes I can't be received this way, so I'm going to be received this way. It's the two great commandments kind of spinning together. And it's just such a beautiful concept because it's not, when Jesus is talking about the love of God, I struggled with years sort of thinking like, well, how does that work? And like, here's this God way up on high and da-da-da-da-da. And that's just not it at all. Like, it's not God on high. It's God walking with us, wanting us to learn to be loving, knowing that if we are in loving relationship, if we're in loving relationship with Him, we're in loving relationship with other people. That is what we were created to be. And that will make our lives so much happier. And they really will. Again, think about sitting around a table with a bunch of people who really love each other. You're going to figure a whole lot out. Again, it won't be easy, but you're going to figure it out. So there you go, friends. Like, there's kind of twofold takeaway today. One is just remember the two are inseparably one, and practice that going out. And if you're facing a challenge today, and maybe there's a place where you can't really feel the love of God, well, just look around. As Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. Or maybe you're not feeling the love of other people who you'd love to feel the love from. Well, maybe try to lean towards feeling the love of God, because these two great commandments really do work back and forth and back and forth. It's a wonderful circuit. And what a landing spot, right? Like the landing spot of life, the landing zone, the airport, the tarmac, whatever you want to call it, it's always love. It's always love. And Jesus always lands the plane. So there you go, friends. Have a great weekend. And what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears as we always do. We're going to shift gears into a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we'll say hi to folks on social media. So the way we're going to get started is with a little prayer bell, and that's just a chance to sort of still our minds. So with that, let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you, and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little cheery hello to anyone who might have joined us on Facebook. And and here's to everybody just having a a wonderful weekend. It's a little cold out here in the Philadelphia area, which actually felt nice. I was telling my wife on my morning walk, trying to get clear, I'm going to feel invigorated today. All right, no comments up there. Just, yeah, all right. Let me flip over to this. And again, friends, we have people leave comments, all kinds. Sometimes I get dinged in the middle of the night with a comment, and that is all good. Certainly do love to hear from folks and hear what they are thinking. Always good stuff. All right, Melissa, good morning. It feels easier when you know and feel God is with you. Yeah, you know what, and it really is true. That feeling, Melissa, of like, yeah, God is just with us. I mean, we can't be outside of that. That's true. Linda writes, it's a beautiful concept. And yeah, I love that 2 great commandments never fail somehow. Uriella, great to see you joining us this morning too, and good morning to you. So friends, God bless. Have a great weekend moving ahead.